Hello and welcome to Hysteria. I'm Alyssa Mastromonaco.
And I'm Samantha Bee.
Samantha Bee! She's here. She is subbing in. I am so grateful.
Oh, I'm grateful. I am so excited to be here. I can't even tell you.
Sam, it's the unofficial start to summer. What are you looking forward to?
You know what I'm looking forward to? I'm looking forward to swimming in some cold American ocean beach water. I'm looking forward to like blueberry pie and being and having my feet frozen in the Atlantic Ocean.
I can't get enough of that. I'm excited for fruit. I'm excited for fruit. It's my favorite thing because, you know, I love to make jam. How are your bees doing?
Oh, I love your jam. My bees are thriving. It's global warming is really, they're living their best lives because they've been making honey now for so long. The supers, like the big honey boxes, they're just stacking up. They're just like, do we keep making honey? We don't even need all of this. Why don't you take some? They're inviting me to take it.
Well, I can't wait to get some at the end of the summer. I better be on the list.
And you are atop of my list because you understand. You're in agriculture.
We're in it.
We are. And I love it.
Hysteria, the podcast for people who say they won't watch Trump's TikTok, but definitely will. Will you?
No, I can't. I actually can't. I love that. I love that you say that, but I actually can't because I get like a fever. Will go into like a perimenopausal sweat when I hear his voice. When I heard his voice talking about that judge and he was like, he looks like a little angel, but he's a devil. I actually get
that right here.
Sweat.
Yep.
I get it right under the boobs, behind the knees. It goes through my body like a horrible hot flash, and it results in it's just fever blisters. I can't do it. It makes the skin crawl.
I'm personally afraid to do it because I don't want my algorithm messed up right now.
No,
right now it's cooking, it's cats. Mm-hmm. You know, and Gen X videos, which I think are so funny.
They're so funny. I like opossums. I like cats. I want to see a baby elephant. I don't want to see that horrible man.
Speaking of that horrible man, Sam, I know the Trump verdict came down after we finished recording last week, and I've got to believe Hysteria listeners want to know what we think. As everyone knows by now, Trump was convicted on 34 of 34 counts last Thursday in New York by a jury of his peers. He was convicted of falsifying business records in an attempt to cover up a hush money payment of $130,000 to Stormy Daniels during the 2016 election. The most important thing I can't believe is true in America is that conviction and even imprisonment will not bar Trump from continuing his plight to become president again. Sam, how'd you feel? How'd you feel last week?
Okay. Well, I mean, the whole thing obviously is awful, whatever. But when I heard the verdict, it was a pleasant surprise. I can't say that. I definitely was like a nice little a frisson, you know? Yeah. Like just like opening up a bubbly water and having that first sip. Just a delight. Mm-hmm. Obviously knowing that the outcome will not be great and it's not like great news or anything and it doesn't really affect our chances of being in total chaos for the next foreseeable future. But it was just a nice little hiccup, like a nice little bubble up of joy.
The Michael Cohen played a big role in all of this, and where do we come down on him? Is he a hero or is he a dope?
Oh, he is not a hero.
No, right?
No,
he's a dope.
He's a dope. He's a dope. That guy is he is a fair weather friend and a fair weather enemy. He just goes as the wind blows.
Yeah.
You know, if Trump had just paid his legal bill, he would not be doing this.
No.
So let's not all I hope nobody's jumping on the hero bandwagon. Let's not get hasty here.
Oh, I agree. Have you seen the past couple of days? I guess it was earlier this week. Trump is now walking back the idea that he was loving the lock her up chants about Hillary. He's kind of like, Actually, people at my rallies would chant them, and I like wanted to tamp them down, but like basically didn't want to like harsh their chill. And why do you think he's suddenly walking away from that?
Alyssa, this is why I can't watch the TikToks, because my whole body just seized. Like, I mean, he literally said she should be in jail on stage with her. He stood beside her and said it. And
he creeped up.
He creeped up. He creeped up. He lurched right behind her and said it. And it causes like a dissociation in my body to hear him say, like, it wasn't really me. It was my fans who were saying lock her up. And there is just so much video footage of it that but it's pointless to even point it out because no one cares about it's crazy. Anything. It's so crazy.
But it goes to the point that he'll deny anything. He lives in an alternate universe.
He is the literal embodiment of that Shaggy song, It Wasn't Me. She even got me on camera. And it just keeps playing out every day of my life, which was such a funny and absurd song when it came out so long ago. And we were just living it.
God, that song was 20 years ago?
Yes. And we just live it. It's amazing. Amazing.
So ever since the verdict, Republicans are losing their shit. They are not okay. First, we had Mike Johnson. He went running to Mommy and Daddy, a.k.a. SCOTUS, for help. The Speaker of the House appeared on Fox and Friends and said that SCOTUS should, quote, step in after Trump's guilty verdict, adding, quote, I do believe the Supreme Court should step in. I think they'll set this straight, but it's going to take a while. I know many of them personally. I think they're deeply concerned about faith in the U.S. justice system. Sounds very legal, very ethical. Sam, what were some of your favorite bratty GOP responses? Because they were aplenty.
They were aplenty. That was just a gift basket of so much bullshit. Just a cornucopia of like, it's a dark day. It's a dark day in America. Prayers for the Republic. Like, what? Are we pretending that we are dignified here? I did not appreciate Susan Collins' response.
What did Susan say? I missed her.
Oh, Susan, I'm obviously paraphrasing here, but Susan was like, well, I don't even think there was it was like a Alvin Bragg with a vendetta, and I don't even see any evidence of a crime being committed. She just was in denial of the whole. And I want to say that we named our cat Susan Collins because we thought it was really funny to call a cat over and be like, Susan Collins, get over here. And I don't know if I can. I can't feel with like it.
That was not nice.
Susan Collins, bad girl.
Susan Collins,
Collins, how dare you?
But then how can you love on Susan Collins? How can you call Susan Collins to come sit on your lap?
When I love her, she's a Susie. And when I'm angry with her, she's a Susan Collins. And Tommy Tuberville, too, was just like, we are at war. The liberals, the Democrats are coming for our voting rights and our health care. And he is a real piece of work.
He is not the smartest. He may be the dumbest in the U.S. Senate.
He may be the dumbest. I wish when I had Full Frontal, we made cups. We made coffee mugs that said rigged on them. And I can't find my rigged coffee cup. And I should be drinking from it right now.
You should. Well, see, I'm drinking from 'Tis the Season to be Petty because it is the season to be petty.
It is, always.
I think my favorite GOP response was the one where they banded together and were like, we're going to send a sassy letter to the White House saying that we will not cooperate in the Senate because of the guilty verdict. But the language, I have to read some excerpts. Mike Lee, another one of America's finest.
I love him.
Quote, as a Senate Republican conference, we are unwilling to aid and abet this White House in its project to tear this country apart.
I have to fan myself. The outrage is so real.
Hold on. This is, quote, strongly worded statements are not enough. Those who turned our judicial system into a political cudgel must be held accountable. We are no longer cooperating with any Democrat legislative priorities or nominations, and we invite all concerned senators to join our stand. That was also Lee on X/Twitter. I'm sorry. Are you under the impression you had been cooperating with anything up to this point anyway?
You little rascals. Like, have the amount of just pearl clutching and just like fainting, like reclining on heavens to Murgatroyd, the system. Oh, I shall die over here. Let me wilt.
Do you know what makes me so stressed? Because I really don't know. Like, the world's just not on the level right now, right?
It's
so, like,
not.
These guys are all just getting all twisted up about this. But meanwhile, most Democrats are like, hey, Bob Menendez, you can just put your sneakers on and keep going. Because, I just think that, is it like, will we ever win? And by we, I mean Democrats, if we're the people who are like honest and on the level. And we're like, because there was the representative from Texas who was accused of like embezzling $600,000 with his wife. And everyone was like, get the fuck out of here.
I know. No, you know what? We do expect accountability. We do expect accountability. And it really hinders us electorally.
It does hinder us because it's like, it took Republicans George Santos literally had to be like the Tinder swindler before they would get rid of him.
And a lot of them didn't even want to get rid of him.
They were like, we shouldn't do this.
We shouldn't do it. It sends a bad message. We should keep this creep.
Okay, so here we go. There's more. So Chief Justice John Roberts, we're back to the flags. There are more flags because the Republicans can't get away from flags. Chief Justice Roberts, it was reported, will not meet with Democratic lawmakers who wanted to discuss the flags waving outside of Justice Alito's homes. He said, quote, separation of powers concerns and the importance of preserving judicial independence counsel against such appearances. Nice excuse, dude. Alito, as a reminder, blamed his wife for raising, 1, an upside-down American flag at their home in Virginia, and 2, the Appeal to Heaven flag at their home in New Jersey. So, Sam, do you think that Justice Roberts realizes he is, by not dealing with these ethics issues, the one not preserving judicial independence?
Well, one word really comes to mind when I think about him, and that word is feckless. Because
you went there.
I did. You know what I mean? What to him, I can't at all figure out what his lines are. Does he have like a single line anywhere that can't be crossed? I mean, what to him actually constitutes unethical behavior? Please, somebody tell me.
I mean, he has let Clarence Thomas and his wife go fly fishing, funded by every mega donor on the Republican side you can imagine. Literally, I think Harlan Crow sent his nephew to school. And at what point, I mean, Sam, when I was in the White House, you couldn't, I have to remember this. I think it was either $15 or $25. You could not accept anything above that in a year. So if you wanted to buy me 3 cups of coffee, that would probably not have been possible by ethics standards. So how our Supreme Court justices have nothing. There are no boundaries.
No boundaries whatsoever. And you just get to have it for a lifetime? And just forever. No boundaries ever.
And you know the thing that just really bugs me about Republicans? It's the hypocrisy in all of it, especially John Roberts, Justice Alito. Because, Sam, they're so obsessed with the flag. Like, they're so obsessed. They've been obsessed for years. Don't burn the flag. Protect the flag. Yet, they adhere to none. There's like an actual flag code from 1923. Yeah. They adhere to none of it. Like none. Flying the flag upside down was a sign used by sailors to signal major distress.
Major distress. I want to tell you that when I had a show, anytime we represented the flag, we had the rule book, we went through it, we were like, okay, it's on, if you're doing it and there's a podium, it has to be in a certain position. We were so careful and dedicated to representing it properly for the, it's an important symbol for lots of people, and you just don't want to get all up in the flag people. Meanwhile, the flag people are like, can I put it on a beer koozie? And also it's my toilet paper. 100%. I rubbed myself with it at the beach, and we were flying it upside down all over the place. I'm like, you guys I would have gotten...
Flying it upside down, hanging it from trucks where it touches the ground. How come you and I know more about flag etiquette than these people who literally are trying to like roll themselves up like pigs in a blanket?
My God.
In the flag.
You're just like having it printed on truck nuts and hanging them off your truck. And that's okay because it's honoring. Anyways, I give up.
We give up. And you know what? There's more news. We got to talk about abortion.
We do.
So in some good news, Senators Mazie Hirono, Ed Markey, and Tammy Duckworth, they are the co-sponsors of the Right to Contraception Act, Senate Bill 1999, which feels very on the nose because I feel like we are back in 1999, which would guarantee the legal right for individuals to get and use contraception and would also prohibit the federal government or any state from administering or enforcing any law or regulation to prohibit the sale or use of contraception. So, Sam, we record on a Wednesday. The vote is expected today. And since we are in June, this is also the 2-year anniversary of Roe being overturned.
Oh, let's celebrate.
Yay. So they're voting on that, which is good. But here is the crazy thing. In anticipation of the vote, earlier this week, the Senate Health and Human Services Committee, so help us God, they had the head of the American Association of Pro-Life OBGYNs, Christina Francis, an absolute right-wing quack, testify. She said that, quote, chemical abortions are, quote, dangerous, high-risk drugs, and couldn't say, simple yes or no, Patty Murray gave her multiple chances. She couldn't say that women should have access to Plan B, IUDs, or birth control. Now, as a reminder, mifepristone is considered as safe or safer than common low-risk prescription drugs like penicillin and Viagra. So according to Jess Valenti, who we love, her Substack, Abortion Every Day, Francis also believes a sundry list of harmful nonsense like children should be forced to give birth and abortion is never necessary to save a woman's life. She's also a physician member of the Abortion Pill Reversal Network. So Sam, here's my question for you.
Yeah.
How is Dr. Francis actually a doctor with those beliefs?
That's such a great question.
Right?
And my answer is, I don't know. But I know that I would not feel safe in her care as a physician at all. Can you imagine? Imagine going to her with an ectopic pregnancy and her just talking about the sanctity of the life
of her being like, I'm going to give you Pepto-Bismol.
Let's just see what happens with this one though, right? I don't like this. I can't understand why there aren't, I feel like the subtext of every conversation we've had so far is, why aren't there more rules?
Right?
Like, why aren't there more rules?
Standards.
Just kind of like if you're in science school to become a doctor, shouldn't we just like all agree on some very important principles? I don't get it.
Sam, here's a personal question. You don't have to answer if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Have you ever been on birth control?
Oh, yes, I certainly have.
Right. Me too. And I remember getting it being like super easy. Birth control has never crossed my mind. And yet in 2024, there's legislation.
Legislation to protect birth control?
Birth control.
This is just a throwback Thursday. I was born in 1969. So when was I using birth? Like 80s?
Yeah.
And it was just such a non-issue, an absolute non-starter. I feel like the whole world was like, yeah, don't get pregnant if you don't want to. This is the way to do it. I appreciated that they put up a 20-foot blow-up IUD outside Union Station.
Did they really?
They did it so cute.
Wait, Sam, but here's the thing. Of all the things on this planet, that's what they spent money on?
Yeah, there's better ways to spend your money. I'm not going to deny that, but I did like that they did it, and I wonder how many gents passed by that blow up thing and went, "Oh, I like that T. What's that T stand for?"
Or they're like, "It's an upside down anchor."
I'm a sailor too. I like it. Is it Fleet Week?
They would know how to use the flag properly.
They would.
And if we ever needed another reminder why we cannot let Trump and the Republicans win in November, look no further than Texas. As usual, last week, the state Supreme Court ruled, the thing, Sam, that's so complicated about all this is that you have to read everything they do word for word because it's such word salad that you can't actually comprehend it. And so you have to, okay. The state will proceed with a ban on performing abortions even when the pregnant person faces serious complications. This case does not seek to overturn the abortion ban, but to clarify the terms of the ban states that physicians will have to wait until the person is practically on the verge of death to perform an abortion. In other words, a condition that could easily be preventable will have to reach its max horribleness for a doctor to legally do anything about it. Now, this is not the doctor's fault. Like the way that everything is written, it sounds like the doctors are just sitting there waiting for people to die. That is actually kind of true, but also because they will be sued and could like lose their licenses if they do use what they believe to be their good judgment that they have gleaned over years of medical school. So even in cases where the fetus is unlikely to survive, the law dictates that doctors are not allowed to give that person an abortion. However, the court did clarify that abortions are allowed for patients with, quote, preterm premature rupture of membranes. Sam. So
imagine being a doctor there. Imagine being
why would you be?
Why would you be? The risk, I mean, just in terms of like risk management, personal risk management, it's an impossible mission. It's
totally thankless.
Byzantine.
It's hero work. It's hero work.
It is.
Do you think, so I personally am a little concerned. Trump trial is sucking up so much oxygen. It's like they had a countdown this morning. One of the Boeing NASA rockets was going into air and there was a countdown clock. And I didn't know if it was that or like the countdown clock. I was like, oh, wait, no, the trial's over. So that's not the jury countdown clock. Like, do you worry that the Trump trials and all of the mishigas surrounding them are going to overshadow all the truly terrible things that are happening?
I don't actually.
Good.
I don't know why I don't worry. Maybe perhaps I should worry about that more. But I do think that it's just such a critical issue. And I do think that we're pretty focused on just moving that ball forward. I mean, we got a 20-foot IUD outside. Like everybody's. No, but I mean, I do think that people are going to move that. I think it's going to move. It's going to move. It's going to stay on people's minds.
Right.
And I do hope that it gets brought up a lot in the next
We have to make sure.
6
That's
months.
why we're going to do nothing but talk about it till then.
Yeah, it can't ever leave. It can't ever leave the conversation. It truly can't.
Have you heard what is happening at the University of Texas in Austin?
Oh, boy. Are you talking about the two professors?
Sam, tell me.
Okay. What's happening at UT right now, in addition to everything else, two professors at UT at Austin have co-signed a legal complaint that looks like it's intended to punish students and teaching assistants who have taken time off to go have an abortion. The amended legal complaint, it was first filed by none other than Texas AG Ken Paxton.
The gift that keeps giving.
The gift that keeps on giving. And for those who are interested, go check out this fucking guy on YouTube for the full breakdown, and the alt-right org American First Legal. These two professors, and by the way, one's a philosophy professor and one's a business professor.
Get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of here. It's nobody's business. These two professors want the right to fail students who miss class to go have an abortion. They believe that they should have the right to do so because pregnancy is a result of voluntary and consensual sexual intercourse. And I want to say, please, fuck off.
What? Like, first of all, how on earth would your philosophy professor know if you didn't show up to class because you had an abortion or because you got hungover the night before at the bar?
Yeah, I believe that it's a HIPAA violation for a professor to say, excuse me, why did you miss my lecture on Immanuel Kant? Where were you? Where the hell were you? Oh, sir, I was having my abortion. Like, it's a conversation that's never, ever going to happen.
Ever. So no. But it goes to the point, like, why are people just wasting their time on this? Like, do these guys, like, I read this and I'm like, they're going to run for Congress someday.
They're going to run for Congress. Yep. They're trying to get their bona fides in some weird way. They're just like, how can I be dramatic today? How can I insert myself into this conversation and be some weirdo's hero? It is so weird.
It's so weird.
Shouldn't you be teaching a class?
But also, if you're a student at UT Texas and you have two brain cells to rub together in independent thought, why would you ever take their classes?
Why would you ever take their classes? Why would you ever take their classes? You wouldn't. The answer is that you wouldn't.
You wouldn't and you shouldn't.
You wouldn't. No.
But we do have some good news. We have a little toast. A toast to Mexico. Sam, Claudia Sheinbaum, known as La Doctora, was elected Mexico's first female and Jewish president. Sheinbaum has an insane resume. She is a physicist with a doctorate in energy engineering. She's the former mayor of Mexico City and was part of the United Nations panel on climate scientists that received a Nobel Peace Prize.
Whatever.
Whatever. She won in a landslide, getting around 60% of the vote, getting the highest vote percentage in Mexico's history. My question for you is, will North Korea have a female leader before we do?
Oh, so easy. Yes, of course. Of course they will.
But the funniest thing about this, do you know what the dry law is?
Oh, well, you know what? I didn't know what the dry law is, but now I do know what the dry law is. Okay, so Mexican elections are sober, kind of?
Guess
so I'll read you a little background here. Okay, the General Law of Electoral Institutions and Procedures in its Article 300 provides that the hours of sale of alcoholic beverages may be restricted the day before the election and the day of the election. What? I love it so much.
I love it.
I love it.
They're taking it seriously.
Take it seriously. The objective, of course, of the law is to guarantee an environment of safety, security, and order during elections. So in this case, the dry law was mandatory from Saturday, June 1st until the closing of voting on day 2, when then everybody cracked their drinks and started drinking again, I guess. I think it's such a good idea.
I think it's a good idea. I think we should have it here.
I think we should have it here. I don't think
in America, we need to take voting some people need to take voting a little more seriously.
But honestly, in America, if you talk about drinking and not being able to drink, the crowd goes wild.
Maybe they'll pay more attention.
Maybe. I would love that if they did.